This is Elise A. Wiggins, and welcome back to Reawaken Your Light. I am a mental health coach. I help moms and caregivers who are burned out and they're seeking to either return to the workforce or school to get some type of training. Grateful to be here again. We are live every Monday and Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm just so grateful that I have been able to be consistent. Like they say, no matter how you feel, you still have to get up and get the job done. So as a matter of fact, let's retrack. Last week, Monday, we talked about loneliness. And loneliness in the sense of not when you're by yourself and you're feeling alone, but what happens when you're alone and you feel lonely around other people. Maybe it's your friends, your family, or whoever, but you even feel alone around others. So check that out. And then on Wednesday, we discuss loneliness, being in a relationship and staying because you're afraid to be alone. I come across so many moms and caregivers who will, if we're in a session, they will talk the entire session about, their partner and the things that their partners do to them. And then when it's like, okay, well, how long has this been happening? And are you ready for a change? They don't want to make a change because they're afraid that they'll be by themselves, and they've never been by themselves. And the thought of being alone scares them so much that it's like, okay, you know what? I'll just stay in a situation, even though I know I deserve more and or better, or although I know that this relationship is breaking my spirit, I'm going to stay in a situation because I'm afraid of being alone. So also check that video out. What I would like to do is I would like to thank everyone who participated in this week's masterclass. As you know, I host a weekly masterclass on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for moms and caregivers who are feeling alone and, overwhelmed, afraid. You don't want to be judged, but you want to be heard and you want to feel supported. And this week, it just got really deep. It was just like a lot of tears, a lot of I want to say eyes being open, perspectives, a lot of letting go of things and people that are no longer good for us as we move on. And I want to say it was really productive in a sense that we got it out, but then we got to it, right? It was like, okay, what's next? I know that this is how you feel, but you have children to care for. So we got to get it together. So thank you for everyone who participated in that. I hope to see you in the next masterclass. And also thank you for everyone who donated clothes and office items. As I previously stated, I started a non-for-profit organization, Communities Promoting Reading, CPR, because literacy is critical in our community. And it's for mothers who are going back to work, or you're going back to training and you need professional attires. So far I have a lot of size 4s. So if you're thinking about making a donation, you can actually inbox me or DM me on Instagram. It's CPRNJ 2018. I put the link below, and we can arrange how you want to make donations. So with all of that being said, let's get into our topic. Our topic today is, is your partner jealous of you? So it's a touchy subject because I want you to understand this. As a mom, when you're raising children, your children are paying attention to the people that you're in relationship to and your interaction with them. And what I found in the past, I was in situations where my partner was jealous of me. And at the time, I didn't know it. I can't even say that I was in denial, because you really can't be in denial over something you're not aware of. It's kind of like you being in the forest and you're not seeing the trees. So I've been in a situation before, and I know now today that's not a situation I would ever want to be in again. regardless of how much you believe that, this person loves you or cares about you, there's subtle signs to know that either your partner is jealous of you, and or your partner doesn't want you to outdo them. I heard a comedian, I don't know her name and I don't want to misquote, but she talked about being in a relationship with a famous singer, and she had her career as an actress and he had his career, and he let her know, listen, if you want to be my lady, my main woman, there's only one star in this family. So maybe you're in a relationship like that where there can only be one star in the family, or the your husband or your wife, or the person that you're dating does not want you to go to a certain level. So I know for me, when it was happening to me, it impacted me psychologically, and it's probably impacting you psychologically too, and you have not been aware of it, or maybe you're in denial of it. But it does have long-term effects, because what I find is you either start to play yourself down. You probably can create and do amazing things. You're multi-talented, but you water yourself down because you don't want your mate to feel like they're being outshined. You don't want to make your mate feel uncomfortable, so you have been kind of like just squelching yourself, if that's even a word. But now it's impacting you in a way where you can no longer do it. You can't continue to deprive yourself over who you really are, your natural skills, your natural talent, your natural ability, and just for the sake of making this other person happy, because now it's killing you. So I'm going to read an excerpt from my book, A Farewell to Welfare, just so you can understand what that psychological abuse of having a partner who's either jealous or intimidated by you. I am a living example that whoever came with the sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me concept did not realize that words are far more powerful than we think. In fact, the Bible tells us God created the earth with only 4 words: let there be light. As a result of extended psychological abuse, my light had not only dimmed, it had blown out. I learned that anxiety is the absence of peace, and I was not at peace because long after we had broken up, especially when I was alone, I could still hear his words in my head. His verbal bashing not only hurt me, it scarred me mentally and spiritually. So this was written in 2013, and it was written long after I had already separated and left the relationship. But the words stayed with me. It was to the point that now I'm out of the relationship, but now I have anxiety. And when I say anxiety, I say have anxiety really bad, where 1 minute I'll be thinking one thought, and then the next thing you know, I was on like my 30th thought, and I was just imagining the worst thing that could possibly happen. Why was I thinking that way? I was thinking that way because this is what I heard from him all the time, which is something you might be hearing from your partner. Oh, you're not that good, or this little, oh, that's it, or whatever. It could be subtle remarks, but these subtle remarks are letting you know that, AKA, you're not all that, AKA, stay in your lane or stay in your place. And there's so much more for you to do. And that's how I used to feel. I used to feel like, okay, just because I want to share my gifts and talents with the world doesn't mean I'm going to cheat, doesn't mean that I'm going to succumb to somebody else. If I love you, I love you. And I believe that a lot of times that's where the anxiety and fear comes from, because you're so busy trying to please this person that now you're going above and beyond what you're trying to do. And if you have a job, a career that you love, or maybe it's not even a career or job that you love, but you're doing this to make ends meet, to pay the bills. If you're in school studying for something and your partner is not supportive of you, I want to just send my my thoughts and my prayers with you, because as a mom, you need all the support and the love and the guidance you can get. Listen to what I'm about to say to you. You know, it's been a lot of talk about, I don't know her name, but Iyanla had interviewed her and asked her about the bus driver situation. And she said, you know, I would date him if he owned the bus. Listen, I would date the bus driver if he loved me, if he cared for me, if he cared for my children, if he showed me that he shows up, if he just had a genuine concern and an interest about my well-being and what I was doing, my hopes and my fears. And I say that to say that it's not about the amount of money that a person makes. It's about their character. It's about who they show you that they are. So imagine, we see all of these stories. I was just watching last night about a young lady. I had never even heard of her before, but apparently she was this pop singer, dance, like she was amazing. And she, you know, she took her life away from herself, right? And till this day, it's like, what happened? No one understands, because she was gorgeous, she was talented, but obviously there was something missing. We're seeing this too much. We're seeing this too often, where people are feeling like hurting themselves. Meanwhile, you know, you have people thinking, oh, well, this is the perfect lifestyle, or this is how it's supposed to be. So in terms of having a partner, and this is, like I said, my own personal opinion, I would rather my partner be supportive of my endeavors, to congratulate me, to say, hey baby, tighten up, to tell me what it really is, and be by my side, as opposed to having someone who is like filthy rich and can offer me all of the opportunities and resources in the world, but never shares their heart with me. So, if this is you, if you're in a relationship with someone who is jealous of you, or as if, or feels as if there could only be one star in the family, that's me. It's up to you to determine if you're going to stay and what you're going to do about that. Because for me, I told myself my soul and my sanity was not up for grabs. Like, I didn't care how much I thought that I loved this person or I was going to be with this person. The person was not worth my soul and my sanity. And now we're talking almost 12 years later. And I have to honestly say, you know, I'm grateful that I was able to walk away, not just from that relationship, but there were other relationships too, which forced me to stop dating and to say, hey, what's going on with you that this keeps reappearing in your life? And get to the point where I could say, hey, this is what I want today. This is what I don't want today. So a couple of years ago, I had this gentleman who was pursuing me. And he seemed like the perfect gentleman, educated, like everything that ideally, you know, a woman, I guess, would have wanted. But I sensed that the gentleman was jealous of me. How was I able to tell? I was able to tell because when I shared good news, it wasn't like a genuine congratulation. It was like, or oh, it was something that I could feel. Nobody else had to tell me. You get to a point where you could just feel things, right? And I knew, you know what, regardless of how good this person looks on paper, this person will kind of like subtly destroy your spirit again, back away. And lo and behold, that person got married to someone else and did the exact same thing to his spouse. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, you were right. You dodged a bullet. But initially it was difficult to let it go because it looked like something that was, you know, what I always wanted. So the choice is ultimately yours. If you feel like this situation is coming in between your parenting, it's impacting your parenting ability. If you feel like it's impacting what you do at work or how you study, I'm seriously suggesting that you take some time to make the decision to say, hey, is this right for me? So if you feel like you want more support, we meet every Saturday, 10 a.m. I'll put the link below. It's the masterclass where we just get it out. If you want to work with me in terms of coaching, I do have a group. We meet weekly, twice once for 60 minutes where I'll give a presentation on whatever topic you want. So if your topic is how to deal with your parents, maybe you have a toxic or difficult relationship with your parents, your siblings, how to deal with friends who are haters. A lot of times I get questions about, at least I'm thinking about quitting my job or going into a new industry. How can I go about that? What should I study in terms of my degree? So we can talk about a range of topics. You let me know, and I'll present on it from 30 to 60 minutes. And then we meet again for 90 minutes live, where you ask me questions and we have a dialogue and we get to the bottom of things. And as I always say, we come full, right? But we leave empty. Like whatever it is, it was on your heart, you get it out. Now, another thing, if you believe that you're not in the right space, where your energy is not giving off positive vibes. Now, that doesn't mean that like if you're sad or you're feeling afraid, that's different. But if you can't do three things when you come on, if you can't come on to heal, to bless, and to prosper another mother or caregiver, please keep your energy to yourself and don't come, because that's not what we need. So again, we meet every Saturday at 10 a.m. for the masterclass Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to work with me a little bit more intensively, you can get that link below too. It's also on my website, afarewelltowelfare.com. Until Wednesday, as always, I always say, be blessed. I love you. And don't wait for a leader. Become one.